Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and it's time for what is probably the most eagerly anticipated video that I do on my channel every year. It's time to predict what the Premiership table will look like come the end of the 2020-21 season, as we're now only a matter of days away from the kick-off for what is going to be maybe the most historic season in the existence of our league. Right then, as I've already said, it's time for predictions. I mean, these videos can go either way. It can look like a bit of a daft at the end of the year, like I usually do. I mean, let's not talk about last season where I predicted Hearts to be third. Yep, that's right, I predicted Hearts to be third in case you're new to the channel, and now they're in the second tier of Scottish football. That's how this can go, or we can be a genius and we can get everything right. We can all leave happy, and I'll avoid some abuse in the comments section. This year, I think I'm playing it safe. Who knows? But we're going to go in the order of what we always do. We're going to go from 12 to number 1. We're going to talk about if or if not Celtic will win 10 in a row. And everything in between. It's going to be interesting, but let's not waste too much time. Let's just get right into things. Also, if you want a video tomorrow, smash the like button. This is a massive, massive video, so please, can we get to 500 likes? I know it's a big ask, right? But we're doing so well. We're almost at 20k. The more likes we get, the more people will have this in their suggested videos, and the channel will just grow even bigger. Of course, when we get to 20k, I'll be doing the Celtic giveaway, the Celtic shirt giveaway, but I will announce it when we're close to 20k. I'll announce how you can enter. A lot of people have been asking, can we do the away shirt? We'll talk about it soon. When we get to about 19.7k, I'll announce that, and then it'll be given away at 20. But anyway, let's get into the video. 500 likes, please. Right then, in 12th place this season, I have got Ross County. I'm sorry, Ross County fans. A lot of people might be actually questioning why I've got Ross County down at the bottom. Last season, they didn't do too bad, to be honest. They kept themselves adrift of the kind of relegation teams for the majority of the season. It was mostly Hearts, Hamilton and St Mirren that were in that conversation. And I don't know what it is. It's just that gut feeling that this season they're going to tail off quite a bit. Now, there's no real evidence to suggest that. I don't feel like they've particularly worsened in their squad. I don't particularly feel they've strengthened either. There's just something calling to me that Ross County are going to be bottom of the league this season. And I'll get into why it's none of the other relegation candidates when I get to them. There's just something about it. Ross County aren't exactly a mainstay in the Premiership. They're never a team who stay up for a lengthy period of time. They're up and then they're down, they're up and they're down. A bit like how Viagra works. But I don't know, I just don't feel like they have the firepower to score goals. And I don't think they're going to cause problems to a lot of of course, they're not going to cause a lot of problems for bigger teams. But the smaller teams who I feel like have got better and made good signings, I just don't feel like... They have made a couple. There's that boy that got on loan from Rangers. I think he'll be a good player. I've got him in my fantasy team, for God's sake. But I just don't know. It's more a gut feeling than anything. In this video, you're going to see a lot of that. I'm going with... Instead of going with what my head says, I'm going with what my gut says for this. So sorry, Ross County fans. I've got you rock bottom. And I'll tell you why as we move on. Well, I won't. I'm going to talk about the other teams. But I've just got you at the bottom of the league. I don't know why. I really don't. There's no justification. I'm terrible at this. 11th place, I've got Hamilton. Now, for the last 3 years that I've done this video on my channel, I have predicted Hamilton rock bottom every single year, and they don't go down. My logic this time is maybe if I don't say they go bottom, they will go down. I'm dying to get them out of the league. I want as many, plastic park teams out the league as possible. We should all be playing on grass. Hamilton as well, they're just not a Premiership club. You watch the away games, you watch when Celtic and Rangers play at Hamilton's ground, it's a dreich affair. It's just horrible to watch. The ground is just, it's not fit for this division. I don't think the club is fit for this division. They need to make big changes. Fair play to Brian Rice. I feel like last season, after, serving a 10-match ban from the touchline as well, they done a tremendous job to stay up. Now, of course, the season was called early, and if it wasn't called early, they could have went down. But the position they found themselves in, those 32 games into the season, whatever it was, they stayed up, and they done well with the resources that they have. They're one of the teams that have a very small budget in the league. There's a few of them, but Hamilton especially, they don't have anything remarkable to work with. But this year, I'm going to say 11th, because it just always seems they manage to stay up. Like, we don't give them enough credit. Hamilton are a team who, yes, every year I want to go down this slate, but we never give them enough credit for the fact that they have managed to stay in this division year after year and avoided the drop year after year and won playoff matches, whatever. They always do a solid job. Brian Rice looks to be a good manager, looks to know his way around the club. He's always got ambition. I mean, last season he had them playing bloody tiki-taka football. I don't think it suits a club like Hamilton, but you know what? This year I'm going to predict them to stay up. Who knows? Depends who they play in the playoffs. If they get someone like Dunfermline, they could go down. I feel like Dunfermline have strength in their team, but you know what? In the Premiership, they're not going to finish rock bottom this season. If they do, then slate me all you want because I'll be happy. But I'm going to go for 11th place for Hamilton this season. Number 10 and 10th place, I've got St Johnstone. This is a very interesting season for St Johnstone. Tommy Wright was the longest serving manager alongside Derek McInnes in the Scottish Premiership, and he left St Johnstone after the season was brought to a close. To my surprise, to many people's surprise, I never imagined I would see the day where Tommy Wright would leave St Johnstone. I genuinely did expect him to stay there until he retired. It didn't look as though there was many clubs who would want him above St Johnstone, especially in Scotland. And I didn't see any reason why St Johnstone would ever get rid of him for everything he's done for that club. But when that Northern Ireland job opened up, it looked guaranteed he was going to get it. And now he's not got it. And St Johnstone have moved on and brought in Callum Davidson as their new manager. So this is an incredibly interesting season. Because I imagine Callum Davidson is going to change everything about the club on the park. I imagine that St Johnstone will not play the same style as what they did under Tommy Wright. They're two completely different managers. Callum Davidson, this is his first kind of bigger job in management. I was surprised that they went with Callum Davidson. I'm actually quite interested. I think it is a good appointment, but I don't think that squad is ready to adjust to life outside Tommy Wright. And that is why I've got them so low down in the table. A team who we're used to seeing around the kind of 6th, 7th, 8th place, I think they're going to drop quite a little bit. Just purely down to that kind of aftershock of Tommy Wright leaving. I think that they will develop, and I think Callum Davidson does have a future at this club, but I do think that St Johnstone can eventually kind of come to terms with a new style of play and a new manager, but it's going to take time. And I think the start of the season is massive for St Johnstone. As the season goes on, I think they'll grow to this new system that they will play, and I think they will grow to a new manager. But is it going to happen straight away? I don't think so, and I think the start of the season is going to hold them back big time. Saying that, it could go the other way. They could start the season tremendously. Who knows? This is the key word that is predictions. I just think they're going to struggle big time without Tommy there. I think that he was the kind of the blood, the organs, the everything of St Johnstone, and now it's just been torn away. So it's going to be very interesting to watch. They have got decent players in there, but it's going to be a struggle, I think, to adjust to a new style and a new life. 9th place, I've got St Mirren, and Jim Goodwin must be thinking to himself, wow, I must have a lot of pressure on me this season. The chairman or whoever it is, someone in the high ups at St Mirren came out and says they want a top 6 finish. And do you know what? I actually have a lot of belief in St Mirren. I have a lot of belief in Jim Goodwin, and I like the things that he does on the resources that he has. But the thing is, for St Mirren, they have lost a big player this season, their goalkeeper. They lost Hideki. And it's not going to be easy to replace him. Of course, they were tipped highly to sign Craig Gordon, and now he's went to Hearts. So that's a big void to fill, because if it wasn't for him last season, St Mirren, I guarantee would have conceded a hell of a lot more goals than what they did, because he was a fantastic keeper, rightly probably linked with Celtic and Rangers because of how good and how important he was for that St Mirren side. He's gone now. They've still got good players around the park. I think that they have a decent system under Jim Goodwin. It's just a matter of, do they have the players to perform to the level that Jim Goodwin would like? Will they finish top 6? My heart is kind of saying I would love to see them finish top 6. I think it would be great for Scottish football to see St Mirren up in the top 6. I think that would be fantastic. There's a lot of ambition at that club, obviously. Can they follow up? I don't know. I'm not so sure. My Heartsley prediction, like my heart, says that they will finish 6th. I don't know why though. It's just something I believe in, but I'm going to predict 9th. I think I've got them at. I just don't think, 9th. I don't know what I'm talking about now. I just don't think they're going to pull it off. I don't know if they've got the depth to carry them that far, and they very much could be in the relegation place. It could go either way for St Mirren this season. I think that Jim Goodwin has got a big job ahead of him, and if he wants to live up to what the owner or whoever it is saying, he's he's going to be in for a tough one. But I believe in the system there, but I'm going to go for 9th to play it safe. I want to get as many right as possible by the end of the season. 8th place, I've got Killie at Kilmarnock, who have obviously been on kind of a downward slope since Steve Clarke left the club. They're kind of back to reality now, Kilmarnock. The reality of what the kind of last decade has been. Kilmarnock have never been up the top end of that table, apart from when Steve Clarke was manager. That was something special. Last year was the first season that Kilmarnock didn't have Steve Clarke, and there was a point in the season where Alex Dyer was under tremendous pressure. There was a point where the results were just not going their way, and things looked, the way they were going, you could have had them tipped for relegation. But Alex Dyer picked up the form after the break. They got results, and it's a team who still have good players there. They've got their Stephen O'Donnells, they've got their Stuart Finleys, they've got Gary Dicker in the middle, who might be old, but he still knows how to do it. They've got Eamon Brophy. They have got a decent squad there. I just don't think Alex Dyer knows how to get the best out of them like Steve Clarke did. And that was the story of last season, underperforming players. Eamon Brophy last season didn't play to the heights he should have. Eamon Brophy was tipped going into last season to be one of the key players in the whole league. Look out for him, he's going to score many a goal. No, never happened. He fell asleep last season. Alex Dyer has got to get into this team and find what Steve Clarke found in all of them. Alex Dyer worked very closely with Steve Clarke. He should know how to do it. I just don't think there's that same belief at the club anymore. Home advantage is huge for Kilmarnock. One of the teams with that plastic park. I hate going to Rugby Park. I hate watching Celtic go there. It's always a struggle, and even last season they made it difficult. They have to play to their advantage at home week in, week out. If they do that, they're going to be a safe bet for a top 6 challenge. But I don't think that the players have got that same mentality that they did under Clarke, and I don't know if they're going to pick it up this season. They've got a wake-up call, I think. I think last season they should have looked at themselves, looked at everything that went wrong, and been able to go, right, okay, we can fix this. If they do that, I think they could finish higher than what I've got them at 8th. But for me, I don't know if Alex Dyer could even last the full season. The start, once again, as I said it with St Johnstone, the start is going to be massive for Killie this year. I think the first few games will set the tone for the season. They need to get points, quick. I think the bottom end could be so close this season. Kilmarnock can get drawn into that, there's no denying. But they have got fantastic players that are worthy of taking them to a top 6 challenge. I'm going to go with 8th though, I'm going to play it safe there. Place I've got Livy, and Livy is a weird one. I was kind of sceptical to put them as high up the table as I have, because I think they're due a little bit of a, I think that's coming at some point. I don't know how long Gary Holt can keep that up with Livy, but then on the other hand, what a job he's done there for the last 2 seasons. Absolutely remarkable job that guy's done. It's crazy how well he's had that team playing in the Premiership when both seasons they have been up now. I've predicted them to finish like 11th or 12th because they have no right to be as good as they are. But once again, I hate going to Livingston. They make life incredibly difficult. They make a job so hard. And they've got players that know how to make life difficult. I think the players like Lyndon Dykes, Marvin Bartley, Lawless is now gone. They really knew how to get into the big games. They know how to do it. And we all know how good a player Dykes can be. I don't think he is a Celtic or Rangers quality player, but he's a fantastic player for Livingston. And now they've made the signing of Forrest's brother, James's wee brother, Alan's came in. I think they've got a decent squad. And for a team who every year could very easily be, finished by losing players, they seem to just pull it out the bag somehow. Last year they lost Declan Gallagher. They lost their keeper in Kelly. Menga ended up going out on loan. That was 3 massive players from the season before who were just gone like that, and you think to yourself, down. No, didn't happen. They signed well, they were pragmatic, defensively they're tough to break down, and Gary Holt is due a move up. He is. I couldn't believe that he wasn't linked with the Hearts job or any other job. I mean, if Robinson took the Northern Ireland job, I was fully expecting him to end up at Motherwell or something. Livingston, I think, will stay up again this year. They've made good signings again, and they've kept a hold of good players. Lyndon Dykes is still there for now. Of course, the transfer window's open till October 5th. Things could change very quickly when the season begins, but I'm going to go for 7th place, just missed out in top 6. Livingston, I think, are in for a decent season. 6th place, is this shock of the video? Could it be shock of the video? Dundee United. Yep, I've went for promotion into top 6 finish for Dundee United. And why? Because of the appointment of Mickey Mellon. That is mostly what's turned this prediction video so bizarre for me. I think that is a tremendous appointment. Now, could I just add a disclaimer? If Dundee United lose Lawrence Shankland by October the 5th, this changes it. That changes everything. I'll put them down. Not down as in relegation, but they'll go down. They'll fall down that My League prediction. But right now, as we speak, Lawrence Shankland is still a Dundee United player, and I think he's ready for the Premiership. I think he's ready to relish every opportunity he's got to prove that he's not just a Championship player, that he's not all the hype for nothing. I think he wants a big move, and this is the season for him to prove it. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination, but they've got good players over the park. They've got powers in the midfield. They've got decent defenders. I can't remember the goalkeeper's name now. It's slipped my head, but fantastic season for him last year in the Championship. This could be a big season for Dundee United as long as Shankland is there. And Mickey Mirren, let me touch on him again. A proven manager down in the lower leagues in England. He's had teams promoted. He's had consecutive seasons of success down south. And they're not easy leagues to manage in. Of course, people talk about how difficult it is to manage in the Premier League. Let's not forget, League 1, League 2 and the Championship, you're playing twice a week, every week, 46 games a season. It is not easy, and he's done a fantastic job at the clubs he's been at. So I think they will get a 6th place finish. It might be bold, you might laugh at me, but they've got the resources to do it. This is a club who should rightfully be in this division, and the fact they've been out of it, they should be ready to come back in and show that they are one of the top clubs in this country. They've been missing out for a long time now. And they shouldn't let it flop. They shouldn't. They could. They probably will. I'll probably left with egg in my face. But if Shankland's there, they're in top 6 for me. 5th place, I've got Aberdeen. Now you might be thinking, whoa, that's slow down. Yes, it is. I think we are coming to the time or the point now where Aberdeen are just in such a weird position. Now, what has become acceptable for Aberdeen is 3rd place and a cup semi-final. That is the kind of standard at Aberdeen now. But Aberdeen fans rightfully aren't happy with that. Derek McInnes has come under a lot of pressure, and the reason I've got them 5th is because this is 2-3 years on the bounce now where fans have asked for McInnes to get sacked. Fans have demanded for McInnes to be sacked, and he's not been. Granted, everything he's done for that club is incredible. I think that's him nearly there a decade. And he's took them to cup finals. I believe he's won the cup, won the League Cup. He's finished 2nd in the league for 3-4 years in a row. He's a tremendous manager, but his time at Aberdeen has become stale to many fans. And I think there's going to be a point in this season where it gets toxic and results will slip, and that is why I've got them in 5th place. Now, don't get me wrong, marvellous signing in Johnny Hayes. Don't get me started. And hopefully on the opening day, wee Johnny does us a turn against Rangers. But it's just, for me, it's been year after year now of just kind of weird, toxic, negative atmospheres around the club. And I think that will kind of come to a point this season, a big ball of frustration where it will just all go south for them. I feel like McInnes might actually go this year. I think this might be the season. Of course, McInnes could start the season with a win against Rangers. Results could follow. They could sit 2nd for a long time, and things will be rosy. That could be the way it goes, and if so, I applaud that. Well done, Aberdeen. But for me, I think this is going to be a bad year for Aberdeen. I've got them down at 5th, and mostly as well because I think the 2 teams that I've got for 3rd and 4th above them are better. So I don't think it's that bold a claim. I think a lot of people will be fancying Aberdeen for 3rd, but and they've still obviously Cosgrove has stayed, McKenna has stayed. They have got a fantastic team there. Johnny Hayes joining them now. I just feel like there is something there in that changing room that is going to falter. 4th place, we've got the Well. You thought it was going to be 3rd, didn't you? Motherwell are in at 4th for me. My oh my, what a season Stephen Robinson had last season. And their biggest result of last season was keeping Stephen Robinson. Stephen Robinson, when I thought he was off, I thought he was going to get that Northern Ireland job. I genuinely thought that was it for Motherwell. Like, that would be it, goodbye, woo. Fall for a little while, for a few years, then come back up again. But no, Stephen Robinson is still at the club, and they are in for a big, big season. Following up on last year, I don't see how things can go south. I'm very confident Motherwell will be in that top half, and more so the top 4. They could challenge for 3rd. They've still got their key players there. David Turnbull, still at the club. He's not went to Celtic, and I don't think he will go to Celtic. I think he will remain there for the next year, then get his move. David Turnbull's going to be massive for them this season. And, they know how to get right in your face. Motherwell are very good at frustrating the opponents, very good at getting their wins when they need them, and the big occasions. They make life difficult for anyone. I'm going for 4th place, and I'm confident of saying that. Of course, this is a very unpredictable league at times. As I said last year, Hearts 3rd, relegated. But Motherwell, Stephen Robinson has been one of the best managers that club has probably seen in the modern era of football. What he's done since he's came in is unbelievable. He's guided them to consecutive top half finishes. I think they finished 7th one season, correct me if I'm wrong. But they've been up in that top half area constantly. Last season, 3rd. Motherwell are in Europe. 2 cup finals in the one season. Stephen Robinson has been like Jesus Christ for that team. And honestly, they're in for it again this year. I think they're going to have a good run. They've got their players. They know how to play together. There's a real good togetherness about that Motherwell squad. That is what the thing is. So Motherwell, I'm going 4th. 3rd place, Hibs. You'd have been laughing if I said Rangers there. Hibs I've got in there at 3rd. Why? Kevin Nisbet, that's why. Big Dave has rubbed off on me. That sounds incredibly wrong, but you know what I mean. If you watch the Talk Scottish Football podcast, if you don't subscribe, me and Big Dave, who's a Pars fan, have been raving, well, more him, has been raving about Nisbet for the last, sort of 12 months. Maybe 18 months, say. Kevin Nisbet was absolutely incredible last season, and arguably the best striker in the Championship last season. When you think about the teams that Shanklin played with and Nisbet played with, you could argue Nisbet was the better striker last season. And now he's got that move to Hibs. I think he's got to rightfully be their starting striker. Canberra looks to be off. He's been told he's nothing to do with the squad this season. Don't think that's going to harm them at all. If anything, they looked better without Canberra last season when he moved to Rangers. So, I think this year Hibs are up for that top 3. Jack Ross, tremendous manager. He really did pick up the pieces when he came in at Hibs. It wasn't a pleasant place that he came into with Hibs last season. Came in, they were broken down, they were gubbed, they were down at second the bottom, and it wasn't going to be easy. Even though they had a good squad, there was something just completely destroyed. That team spirit, the community there was gone. He came in, picked up the pieces, cut off the dead wood, and they ended up getting into that top half. Tremendous manager, and I think with a full season, with his own signings, and it's not the only signing that he's made, they've made some good signings all summer. I think that they are ready for a 3rd place finish. I think they've got a tremendous year ahead of them. And they will give Celtic and Rangers a run for their money. This year, these teams, Hibs, Motherwell, Aberdeen, likes of Livy again, will take points off the two of us. Celtic and Rangers, points will be gone because of these teams. Hibs do have a system under Jack Ross. They didn't under Heckingbottom. Well, they didn't. It didn't work. This will work. Hibs are going to be 3rd. So then we get into the top 2, which begs the question, do Celtic win 10 in a row? Do Rangers stop 10 in a row? A man sitting here in a Celtic shirt, I'm sure you can assume what my opinion will be. So let me explain why. In 2nd place, I have Glasgow Rangers. Now, if you want a full in-depth video of why Rangers won't stop 10 in a row, let me know. I'm not making that video. No. I'm joking, don't let me know, because I will jinx it, but I will give my brief explanation as to why on paper I don't think it will happen now. 2nd place I have Rangers because of this. Last season, if the season wasn't brought to a close early, I genuinely do think Gerrard could have been gone from Rangers. Things were incredibly bad at Rangers last season. I think that they say Rangers fans complain about the season getting ended early because we got the title. Look, if you love Gerrard that much, it done you a favour in my opinion. In my eyes, he would have been gone. Because there was a spanking due that weekend in March from us. The way results were going, you were beat off Hamilton at Ibrox for God's sake. Now, if you've got the chance to play us that weekend, I genuinely do believe we would have spanked you about the park. And I know that the old firms have been going different ways nowadays. The last year and a half, Rangers have turned up. But every sign was pointing towards an absolute pumping that weekend. Because Rangers were not in a good place. Points thrown away willy-nilly. Neil Lennon said it all on the bench at Livingston. Hamilton, for fuck's sake. He put it best. Rangers have signed players this window, and I will not buy into this argument that Rangers fans bring across that Rangers have been better in the transfer window. Away and bite your own shite. No chance. Who are these signings? Who are they? I'll give you it. Hadji looks a decent player. Not seen him in a big game against Celtic yet. Granted, looked good in Europe. Not seen him against Celtic. Hadji's a good signing though. I'll give you that. Bolligan? Who? Sorry, relegated with Wigan, was that? Bassey? Who? The guy they signed the other day? Who? I don't know who any of these guys are. Then Celtic, on the other hand, have just signed a Premier League winger for another year who tore his apart on one occasion last season and tore up Europe in Mohamed El Younousi. We're signing a Champions League quality goalkeeper in Barkas, and we're signing a Premier League striker, former 25 goal a season striker in Ajeti over in Switzerland. So I don't quite know why Rangers fans believe they've beat us in the transfer window. Granted, I think Rangers will be up for this year. They've got to be. This could be the most humiliating year to be a Rangers fan if we win 10 in a row. And who knows, the way it's going, we could win 5 trebles on the bounce. This could be a horrendous year. And if Rangers, if Gerrard, if the players understand a single ounce of what it's like to play for a club that size and a club like Glasgow Rangers, there is no chance they're going to lie down this season. But Celtic are far too strong, and we'll get on to Celtic in a moment. Rangers, I think, they will push. They'll probably end up beating us on an occasion this season. Who knows, maybe a couple of occasions in Old Firm matches. But one team does it better over the course of 38 games, and one team does it better against those smaller opponents, and that's us. That's the reality, and until there's evidence given to me that suggests that Rangers are going to improve on that this season, I don't know how I can sit here and predict them to win the league and predict them to stop 10 in a row, and I don't want to be overconfident. This is all coming from on paper. For me, it's Celtic's title to lose this year. If we don't win 10 in a row, it's our own fault, because our team is miles apart. We look at the history. Celtic had a chance to win 10, collapsed. Rangers had a chance to win 10, collapsed. If social media had been invented back in 1997, we would have been slaughtered for a point in Wim Jansen. We would have been slaughtered for the team we had then, and yet we'd done it. Rangers were far better. You don't know how it's going to go. I don't want to sound overconfident, but I still think that Rangers squad is nowhere near good enough to challenge Celtic's. So first place, I've got Celtic. Look, we've kept every one of our key players. We've lost depth, and we look as though we're going to add in though. Lennon wants to make signings. We're a ball hair away from making 2 fantastic signings in Ajeti and Barkas. I don't see how we can let this slip. If we do, it's our own fault, as I've already mentioned. This season is massive. This is huge. I cannot believe that I'm getting the opportunity to sit on the brink of a 10 in a row title win. But there's a long way to go. We've got 38 games where we need to play our absolute best. We need the fans back in the stadium at some point. This is a season like no other. Rangers, I think, prefer not having fans there. I think they play better without the pressure, which could help them. But Celtic were just quality-wise miles beyond. And, you know, you look at the team 11 for 11. I'll say it again. There is not one Rangers player who gets in that Celtic team. The closest is Barisic. 11 for 11 were just miles better, and that's the honest truth. There was a conversation last season. Who's better, Morelos or Edouard? It's not even bloody close between the two. So, Celtic for me on paper are 10 in a row champions, but it's not going to be easy, and as the season goes on, we'll see what happens. But for me, we have signed well, are about to sign well. We should hopefully go on to continue signing well, and we have kept the most important players. We've kept Edouard, we've kept McGregor, we've kept, you know, all those guys are there. The biggest loss was Foster, and we're bringing in a keeper to replace him. So, you know, for me, we're champions. For me, it is 10 in a row. But let's not get overconfident. Let's wait towards the end. But I've got to predict something, haven't I? Anyway, that is it for my league predictions this season. It's been a long one, I know, and I would love to go into more detail about who clubs have signed and their tactics and their managers and blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, I've talked for half an hour here, so I need to hurry up and wrap it up. If you have enjoyed, as I said, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you very much for the support as of recent, guys. It means a lot, and I'll see you all next time.